Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Tim Harridge here. Wanted to talk to you about a house that my student recently made what was an $11,000 mistake. So as we give people a little bit of time to get onto the call, we are going to I'm going to go ahead and show you the house that's in question. Now this is a house that it's in Mesquite. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I'm going to go through all the numbers on the house and where I got the house and when the call came in, etc.
Okay.
Nice little neighborhood.
I'll go over your head.
In Mesquite. I've bought several houses in this neighborhood, primarily all 3-bedroom houses. It's one of those interesting neighborhoods that nowadays is only comping somewhere around the low 100s and or actually the high 90s. But the rents in this neighborhood are actually still in the 1,100 to 1,150 range. So that was the true value in the wholesale marketing of this house. Wasn't in bad condition. It had some minor settling as far as the interior went. The interior of the property was in fairly good condition. Paint, some flooring. This is actually video I shot of the property on Monday afternoon.
Kitchen, nice cabinets.
As you can tell, cabinets aren't that bad. Countertops actually look okay. The appliances do stay. And this seller, he's actually a pretty handy guy. He had already replaced some of the tile. There was some engineered wood floor in the living room.
Tile floor.
Again, just showing you the video of the house that the student lost $11,000 on while everybody else gets on the call. Again, nice ceramic tile down the hall, which is perfect for a rental.
Master.
Very large master bedroom. It's got the step down into a sitting area. So it's actually
Step down on the master.
there. You can see it there.
So it's a full 3-bedroom. Yeah, our internet's a little slow.
Everybody's still trickling in, so we'll begin right after this is over. I'm not a videographer. I'm a real estate investor. So
The hall bath.
keep that in mind. Again, house was in pretty decent shape. Nice tile floors throughout the hall and the bathroom. And again, the powerful thing about this house as I was pulling my comps to go look at it was just that the lease comps were still in the 1,100 area, whereas the resale comps were hurting in this neighborhood, and the recent resale comps put this house's value below $100,000 when a couple of years ago it was actually, you know, $105,000 to $115,000 house. I'd remodeled several down the street.
Bedroom.
Again, you don't see any major cracks or holes in the wall. It's really primarily just a paint and carpet kind of rehab with some minor foundation around the back.
Panel.
You see the engineered wood floors there in the living room.
Sliding glass door.
And in the spirit of full disclosure, we're about to show you what we call a white elephant issue in the backyard.
Large covered patio.
Yeah, that'll make you dizzy.
Mm-hmm.
Backyard is a nice green belt, and on some houses that's a great thing. But
You added 10% because
Yeah.
of the green belt, right?
I added 10%, and then I had to take that off quickly, and you'll see why.
And then you subtracted 10.
Yeah.
And then you subtracted 20, right?
Yeah. See, even the AC unit on this house is in good shape. And so now to point out the largest issue with this house.
And no house will be complete without large power.
Get the nice high-tension power lines going through the backyard, in essence. And that's one of the things that really hurt the retail value of this house.
So, know that before you come.
So, again, just wanted to go over that, show you all that.
Now, if you don't...
Everybody, this is George Roddy joining us.
Hey guys. Pleasure to meet you guys. Now, when did you take that video? Was that after you walked through the house and then talked to the homeowner, and then, or is this the second time you went over there to sign the contract?
Well, we'll go over that.
Oh, okay.
So,
I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Everybody, welcome to the conference call. We're going to go ahead and begin. This is the student I'm referring to will remain nameless. We're going to call him John Doe. And John is a member of our FlipThatContract coaching program. And John got involved with a house that I recently purchased and wholesaled. And John is on the call. We won't ask John to say anything. I'm going to walk you through the deal and how it all shaped up, and then we'll get on to basically giving you tips to not make the mistakes that John did. So this is a bit of a case study. Now, as far as this case study goes, I'll break down the timeline for you. I received a call on a house in Mesquite Friday, January 20th at 10:34 a.m. And I'm going to show you how I know that here in a little while. I booked the appointment immediately because I answered the phone when they called and went to look at the house at 1:30 that afternoon. With the high-tension power lines and the lack of comps I had, I did not make an offer in person, which I'm a big proponent of. I just did not have enough information with me because of the power lines in the backyard to make an offer that I would feel good at. So I told the guys, give me a couple hours to get back to my office. I'm going to run some more numbers, and I'll call you this afternoon. I called him at 4:30 that afternoon and made my offer. And honestly, I thought I had no chance at that offer getting accepted because with the power lines in the backyard, I was just ultra conservative because I did not want to own that house. And as you all know that have listened to me before, I'm a proponent of if you're going to write a contract and not buy an option, then you better be ready to close. So, and I don't buy options. So I made the offer Friday afternoon. Didn't even bother following up with the guy over the weekend because he said that he had a couple other people he had called. And so I thought I would follow up with him on Monday. Well, then Monday at 10:30, Monday morning, he called me back, asked me if I could increase my offer. And I said no. And he said, well, then let's do the deal. And we'll talk about where this lead came from and kind of why he went ahead and did the deal here later in the call. Met him at 3:30, executed the contract. At that time, that's when I did my video and took my pictures. And he handed me the key to the house, so I was able to put a lockbox on it because, as you saw in that video, the house is vacant. And immediately, since I executed the contract, I had all my marketing together.
Yeah, the pictures, the video, and the lockbox on the door.
Plenty of comps because I had to repull comps myself. Sent the e-blast out through my dfwinvestors.com website and through my buyers list that I've been building, and started doing showings on Tuesday. And by 3:30 yesterday afternoon, had an executed assignment and a deposit from the assignee. So the way the numbers shape out on it, this house had an ARV somewhere around $95,000. It needed less than $15,000 for rehab. I put it under contract for $47,000 and assigned it for $58,000, all in the span of basically 96 hours. And so that's where the topic, how a student lost $11,000, because what happened is Monday when I put the e-blast out, this student, John Doe, sent me a text message and said, "Now I know why you carry that phone on your hip and use Google Voice." And I had no idea what he was talking about. I'm like, what's up? And he said, "Via Del Norte, they called me Friday and I didn't answer." And he said he tried to return the call on Saturday, didn't get an answer, and he said he was picking the phone up to try to call him again on Monday when he saw my email. And that's the thing about these motivated sellers is, if you go back and do the math, they actually had probably called him before me, and then they called me, and I answered the phone, and I set up the appointment. And that brings us really to the next source, and George and I were talking about this last night in preparation for the call. The lead source, I got this lead from a postcard that I mailed to Mesquite. It's an absentee owner postcard that has owned the property for more than 15 years, and it's something that I mail every 3 or 4 months. So this guy, since he's owned the house for 20 years, he's probably gotten a dozen postcards from me over the last couple of years.
Right.
So the interesting thing is, why did he call now? What was that trigger event?
Right.
Well, here's the deal. He got divorced about 10 years ago. And as part of the divorce, the wife was supposed to upkeep the property and keep the taxes up. Well, she's done neither. The dad had to let one of his daughters move into the house, and the daughter's been living there, paying nothing, taking care of nothing. So he's got the motivation of, if he disposes of this asset, he can get rid of the ex-wife for once and for good.
Right.
Now, daughter moved out. He's got a vacant property all of a sudden, whereas before, daughter lived there.
Which costs him money every month for taxes, and if he does have any utilities on, I mean.
Yeah, and he's got utilities on, which are in his name, he told me. And so now, what is due at the end of this month, next week, George?
Yeah.
Property taxes.
2011 property taxes.
Which he hasn't protested, and he has no exemptions. So he's literally, he's got a $3,000 check to write next week.
Right. And he's not interested.
So now, no help on even keeping the house up or someone living there. No help paying any of the bills at all.
Right.
And now there's another bill. And then to add on top of all of that motivation, he is actually a commercial contracting superintendent, and he's about to be out of town for 2 months working on a job.
Yeah.
Literally, we're probably going to have to FedEx the closing documents on this house to him.
Okay.
And so it's the financial burden, but now the trigger event of it's a vacant house, and he's going to be in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And he knows no one will take care of it because they haven't taken care of it when he was around.
Right.
So he knows they're not going to take care of it. So it was those trigger events that what finally made him call me. And the funny thing is so many of our students, George, as you know, like to send someone a postcard once and then stop.
Right.
And the list doesn't work.
Yeah.
We need to refine that list. Let's pull a new
or
list.
refine the postcard, the message.
Let's change the postcard.
Yeah.
And so really and truly, I'm going to go through a couple things real quick with you guys, and then we're going to talk about how to generate these type of leads. In Flip That Contract, we teach a module, part of our training is about lead conversion. And it's that inbound seller call which you have to answer. And George always gives an example of if you have a water leak at your house, which is what these trigger events really are. It's this water leak in their life.
We got to find a solution now.
And see, he had a water leak, but when I answered the phone and I said, I'll be there at 1:30, his problem was solved.
Right.
Someone was coming to give him a number. Someone was coming to take care of the problem.
Right.
So he didn't need to call anyone else. Now, had I not been able to answer that phone call, had I not been able to set the appointment immediately, say I was busy with something like an expo, he probably would have called someone else.
Yeah.
And so,
I think you can all, put it on the audience that's listening. I mean, put yourself in that position. If you've got a plumbing leak, you're going to probably not. It's not the money now. It's solve my problem. I mean, yeah, I don't want a plumber that's $500 an hour, but if a plumber tells me that they can come out in 3 hours tops, they're hired. I mean, they have won me over. And if they're not a when I meet them, they've earned my they're at the top of my list. And just to say that, I got a call yesterday on one of my Frisco houses, an absentee owner, and I said, it was 1:30. I'm teaching a student about it, and I said, I'll be over there at 3:30.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I come at 3:30 or 4:30? He goes, yeah, I didn't know you could go there. I said, because this is in my backyard.
Well, you answered the phone,
Yeah.
step one, which is really the thing that John Doe did wrong in this case. And John Doe, unfortunately, he has a day job, and I understand that a lot of you listening to this call do. And so if you're not going to be answering the phone that you're trying to drive traffic to, then you need to either A, find another person to do it, or B, you need to get an answering service. Because in that answering service, you're going to need to provide them with scripts and a way to schedule, because it's like I always tell the students, you can cancel an appointment over a voicemail. Because if I have an appointment with you this afternoon at 4:30, George, if I call you right now to cancel it, if you don't answer, I can leave you a voicemail that says, George, I can't make it, and now it's on you. I've canceled. But I can't book the appointment. I can't call and leave you a voicemail. George, I'm going to be at your office at 4:30. See you there. Bye. Because I need confirmation. So, and also by booking that appointment immediately on the phone, they're probably done calling. They're probably done Googling. They're probably done going through the yellow pages or however they found you, because, okay, I got a hold of someone, step one. Step two, they're on their way to help. And so that's just a big thing.
Yeah, let's stop right there. The takeaway from that right there is somebody has got to answer the phone, period. You will lose probably, I'm going to say 70% of quality leads if someone doesn't answer the phone. There are some people that will leave a message, but I would probably say at least 50 will not.
Yeah, and it's one thing. I'm not saying that I answer my phone 24/7. Specifically, if I'm inside a house with a seller, I do not take my phone inside. But you've got a lot better chance if you answer the phone, and if you miss the call, you've just got to be Johnny on the spot to get that call returned immediately. So one of the ways that I do it, and I'll tell you guys about it real quick, is I use a free service out there called Google Voice. And if you don't use Google Voice, I highly recommend you do. It's free, and the neat thing is what I do is I print this number. Google will give you a number, and you see down here it's this 972-855-8846. That number is printed on all of my purchase advertising. So it's cool you can have Google Voice automatically forwards. You can set it up to where it takes the calls for you and screens them, or you can set it up just where it automatically forwards to your cell phone or whatever number you dictate, which is nice because if I'm going to France or something, I can forward this to someone else just by logging on online. So it gives me a little bit of control. But when it rings, instead of the seller's phone number showing up on my caller ID, this is the number that shows up. So, and I've got my own little special ringtone for this number. So when my phone makes a certain sound, I know it's time to.
It's Pavlov.
Yeah.
Pavlov's, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, as Ken D'Angelo, the founder of Homevestors, I think one of you are testing me here. Did one of you on this call just call? This Tim? Yeah. One of you just, thank you. One of you on this call just prank called me at that Google Voice number.
You should not, yeah.
And that is your phone number.
There you go.
Yeah, that's going to be you. No, that's 24 hours ago.
You got to refresh.
One of you are prank calling me 45 seconds ago. One of you that is in Wiley right now, you want to own up to it? Where are you? Busted. Yeah, got him. Someone was trying to say that I don't answer my phone. Sorry, buddy. My phone doesn't ring out loud right now, but I do have it silenced, and when I just on vibrate, when I felt the vibrator, I looked to make sure it wasn't a buy call. It is routine nature, so I'm not going to bother calling whoever that was back, but just know I caught you. So anyway, use Google Voice. It's free. If you have a Google account, just go to google.com/voice and set it up. I really like it because I'll move this little bar here. I'll show you. You can set it up to forward to your cell phone. You can forward, like this is my assistant Adam's phone number, and if I'm going to be unavailable, say I take my kids to Six Flags for the day, I go ahead and forward the phones to him. You can have it send you a text message. You can have it screen the calls. You can have it, there's all kinds of options. So if you've never used Google Voice, I highly recommend you either use that. And the nice thing is you know, say our student John Doe had this set up. If he knew he was going to work a 12-hour shift, he could have forwarded it to his answering service while he wasn't available. So if he had an answering service that maybe charged him per call or something like that.
Right.
So anyway, where was I? Yeah, the other thing is, George, guys, when you do take these calls, communicate with them. Don't interrogate them. Don't try to be, you know, the latest snake oil salesman and, hey, how much are you going to take? You know,
yeah.
if I
can come out,
are you going to sign today? And don't be the car salesman.
Yeah. What, you know, to me, Tim, I think the biggest thing is the appointment. I mean, you know, it's to gather, but you've got to let's find out, you know, if they're truly motivated, let's get over there and, you know, I guess we've always talked about your backyard. You know, if you, and I tell people, and we tell people all the time, look, if you're not willing and able to go over to this house or to this area 4 times a week, then your backyard's too big. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, why in the world are you marketing to somebody where you're not willing to go there a couple times and go on appointments? So you need to make sure that you don't market. I would much rather market to more people in a smaller area than smaller people in a larger area, if that makes sense. And so that's why I can get over there and say, I'd like to come over today if that's okay. And, you know, because we're both real estate investors and that's what we do. And, you know, we offer training because you just need to take our lead. And my biggest thing is, you know, the house sounds like great. I don't know what I can offer you until I see it. I mean, really, people call us all the time. What do you think I should offer? Have you seen the house? Yeah, I mean, unless you're just buried in work, you need to go out and look at the house. I mean, that's just the bottom line. So
this is just an example of a script. We're going to post this to our YouTube channel and send all you guys the link, and you can go back over and read it. And again, just the biggest thing is about these scripts, practice them before you get the live phone call, because you don't want to be trying to read a script with someone that needs your attention and your help, because at the end of the day, you're really not going to be able to help them, and you're going to turn them off, and they're going to pick up the phone and call me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then the other thing is prepare for the appointment. In this example I was talking about, I didn't have enough comps because I didn't know the house backed up to those power lines. And those power lines are it's something important. I mean, you've got to watch out for white elephants, and we'll talk about that. Well, our students have already heard us talk about that. You got to look out for, we call it a white elephant, something that may be affecting the value of the property that isn't part of the property, i.e. a water tower in the backyard, power lines, corner of a busy street, burglar bars on every house in the neighborhood, pit bull next door with a kind of a raggedy chain link fence where literally someone's scared to go in the backyard.
Right.
Those things affect the value of the homes. We talk about being nice at the appointment, dress casual but not lazy. Don't show up in flip-flops and torn shorts, but also, like we say, don't dress like the banker. Don't pull up in your Beamer with your suit on, because
you're dressed up, by the way, today.
Well,
what's going on?
It's almost the expo, so I have a lot of meetings, and we were meeting with the radio show people today, so I try to dress.
You got the collar. There's a collar on your shirt
and buttons.
Yeah, and buttons.
There's a collar and buttons on my shirt today. No, I mean, but in all seriousness, I typically wear just a pair of work boots, a pair of blue jeans, and like a polo shirt. I normally do have a collar, but normally there aren't sleeves or buttons all the way down the shirt. So, I mean, you want to dress casual. You want to fit into their turf, but at the same time, and you definitely want to tuck in your shirt. And I mean, a lot of times people tell me I look like I'm a cop, but I mean, it's the old military. Wear a belt, wear a pair of closed-toed shoes, blue jeans, and a shirt with a collar on it, or it can be a T-shirt, but it better be one of the nicer T-shirts, like a golf T-shirt,
right? Something
of that nature, and it should be tucked in. And then just little psychological things: respect their territory, don't block their entrances. If you park behind their car in the driveway, it makes them feel blocked in and trapped. So it's just one of those little tips. Let's see. Pay attention as you're walking the property. This is a big thing that got me this house, is I started catching, one, he had a lot of pride in a lot of the repairs he had done to the house.
Yeah.
So I was real careful not to
tarnish that.
Yeah, not to talk bad about the house, not to,
people know.
Yeah.
They know. Whether they want to admit it or not, come on,
Yeah.
If you got big ears, you have big ears. You don't need to be told you got big ears. They're reminded of that.
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm just saying, if someone, I'm not.
I don't want to get too much into this. That's really, I mean, at the end of the day, the way this student lost $11,000 is that he was not ready to answer the phone or have someone else answer the phone, and it cost him. It cost him a lot. I mean, it's
well, it costs. Yeah, not to say that he would have made $11,000. We're not saying that, but bottom line is that he lost out on an opportunity, and part of this business is all about opportunities, right?
Yeah.
And it's what you do with that and converting that into a contract and writing up your contract. But it all takes that action part. It's you acted on that lead, and you were lucky enough to not have back-to-back appointments, and that's one reason why you got this. I think that's one reason why you got this deal.
Yeah, and remember I told you actually.
You were in front of the house when we were talking. And
I just left this house over in Pleasant Grove that it was. I literally drove by the house, and you talk about white elephants. It was at the corner of late June in a residential street. Across it was one of those 20-car bay gas stations, one of the huge Exxons, and then literally like 4 blocks up was 175.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, this thing, and literally to get into the garage, you had a 2-car wide approach apron that turned off of late June, and I mean, comps were already hard enough. I mean, I was thinking the house was worth 65 or 70, and before I got there, literally I drove by, and I was talking to George on the way to the next house, and I'm thinking, and I pull up in front of the house, and I'm like, man, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah.
Why can't I go to a normal house today? Because I saw the big high tension power lines behind the house, and so the lesson behind that is be careful, how you look at a house before you.
Yeah, you were not happy. You were like,
I wasn't.
You were not. I'm like, hey, you never know. You never know. And 96 hours later.
Yeah, I mean, one of my students was looking at that house on late June. Jim, did you buy that house? Please tell me you didn't. Please, Jim. Did you buy that house for 33? No. Okay, good. All right, anyway, so, I mean, that's kind of how this deal shook out. So the pointers here, for those of you that are listening still, the pointers are, I mean, number one, you got to answer your phone. I mean, you absolutely have to answer your phone.
I think before that, you guys have to have a consistent, why did he call you? I mean, even before, you're not going to get the calls, guys, unless you're consistent and you drip on this guy. And you said you probably dripped on him for a couple years. It could have been, and who knows? I mean, we could probably research it, but bottom line is you consistently dripped on him and got your face, or excuse me, Jennifer's face in front. Did she? By the way, did he call and ask for Jennifer, or you?
His wife called
okay.
and asked for Jennifer.
Yeah.
So there. Let's see. I'm trying to isolate when I sent him the postcard. I don't have time for that on the call, but I mean,
bottom line is you had a campaign, and this is an absentee owner, someone that lived in the property, and you dripped on them every 3 to 4 months.
Yes.
And
for the last, I mean, I think he had owned the house. Let's see. I can look at this real quick. He had owned the house for a good while. I want to say he said it was in the 80s, but yeah, I mean the deed transfer date's not even in there. So yeah, he's had to have been getting letters and postcards from me and a ton of other investors, because there's a ton of people that work Mesquite that I know that are professional investors.
Right.
For years and years.
Yeah.
Especially since he's an absentee owner.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, he probably gets 10 or 15 postcards a month.
Yeah.
But those trigger events finally piled on to where it was time to pull the parachute cord.
Yeah.
And I was the one that answered the phone.
You were one of the people that he called.
And I was the one that answered the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because who knows? Had John Doe answered his phone, I may have never had the chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I may have never had the chance. So part of me is glad John Doe didn't answer the phone, and part of me feels sorry for him.
Mm-hmm.
But my wife will still cash the check when
Really?
it comes in a week or two.
Okay.
So, George and I were talking, and for those of you that are on this call that aren't registered to attend the second annual REI Expo this weekend, I'm going to be teaching about taking the call, booking the appointment, walking the house. It's going to be an hour-long presentation. And George is actually going to be talking about how to generate the call that you need to answer.
Yeah.
Well,
I think it's more, how do we set up a consistent campaign where we don't have to, reconstruct the wheel? And so bottom line is my job on Saturday, Tim, is to educate these folks on all the different lead sources that you and I use, and how to structure that where you can mail out every month to these lead sources, and how many times should we mail it out, and which postcards should we use. And
well, it's a big thing is making sure that whatever it is you do, it's palatable, where you can be consistent.
Right.
Because, we talk about the student that came to our class last year, and he mailed out 20,000 postcards his first month and depleted his budget.
Right.
And didn't make any money off of that until May. I mean, it took him a couple of months. He ended up, someone did finally call him off of it, and he made a little bit of money. But the thing is he almost depleted his entire average trying to make it happen quick.
Yeah.
And it's not the list fault that the list didn't pay off immediately.
Right.
It's the list is dependent. The list is that we don't always talk about are people that most likely have the equity to sell you the house at a discounted price, and based on the age of the house or how long they've owned it, it most likely has a bit of a condition that would put it in a category. But it's these trigger events that, the first time you ever saw a commercial for Dr. Pepper 10, did you get up in your car and go buy one?
Right.
Most people no. I mean, I guess there's a couple of weird Dr. Pepper fanatics that did.
Sure.
But the next time you were thirsty, if they kept the message in front of your face and you're thinking, I don't need all that sugar, that's when you buy it.
Yeah.
And so that's the important thing about what you were just talking about is dripping on them, having a sustainable budget, and just not trying to reinvent the wheel about the piece.
Right.
Because it's not the piece that's going to make you money. It's kind of that being consistent. And the pieces are important, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, no, I think you put yourself in a good position if you're just doing it, if you're in front of them. I mean, it's not the first time they get a postcard. It might be, and the stars have to align with that trigger effect, and then they kept your postcard. So those two things have to happen. But if you do a one-off, the likelihood of getting a letter and a trigger effect happening at the same time it's not in your favor. So anytime you're doing things, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it. And at the DFW, at the REI Expo, that's what I'm going to focus on is what systems do I use, what postcards, how many times, and what lead sources do I use. And my backyard is not as big as yours.
Right.
And so that's just because I know what my limitations are, and I know, well, no, and you can drive, a lot more than I do, but I feel comfortable with this area, this pocket of Dallas or DFW, and I know I can get there usually if it's a drop the fork call, right?
Yeah.
I know, you've got to be over there, and you've got to at least be able to get there that day or the next day.
Well, see, one interesting thing that I've learned from you over the last year of working closely with you has been, there's a lot of people that don't really understand the foreclosure list and how to mail it the right way. I mean, a lot of people get the list, and I've seen people, oh, do you have the Roddy list? And they get the list, and then they spend, a couple days crunching data, then a couple days driving and knocking, and, you've got an interesting mail approach to where the list comes out, get the ones that are in your area, bang, hit them.
Yeah.
But then it was interesting to me in that 20-day period, you actually hit them twice with mail.
18 and 11.
Yeah. I mean, which was very interesting to me because I had never thought of it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it's that second postcard. I mean, the reason why is I've tried it a couple months and got one, and I'm like, I'm done. I mean, I lock, stock, and barrel it every month now because I got one deal off of it. And, if you get one deal off that second mailer, it pays for the year.
Yeah.
So
the first and the second mailer.
That's right. That's right.
For the year, and that's the whole deal. I really don't have much else to say. If you're on this call and you're not registered for the expo, there are still tickets. Please, please, please just come join us. We'll have, there'll be hundreds of people there, over 30 vendors and sponsors to help you. A lot of the speakers are doing one-on-one meetings with people during networking hours. Got a couple live radio shows going on, being broadcast live. And, of course, George and I will be there, so that's reason enough.
There you go. That's worth at least $10.
Yeah, at least. So go to reiexpo.com. George, you got anything else?
That's it.
Anybody on this call got any questions? I'll be happy to take questions. Okay, Guess that's a no. Going once. Going twice. No one has any questions. Oh, there we go. Expo question. Yes, ma'am. Fire away. Would you like me to unmute you? Christy?
Going. Hello.
Hey.
Is it open tables tables at the event, or is it just a bunch of chairs at the expo?
Are you talking about the rooms and how they're laid out?
Yes, sir.
Well, every room is different. Some of the rooms at the expo, I'll show you real quick the layout.
I'm trying to decide whether to bring my laptop to take notes or just paper and pencil.
Well, I would probably try to bring paper and pencil. Let me show you real quick.
Maybe your phone. Does your phone do audio?
Yeah.
No, you can't.
Oh, you
recording.
No, you can't record. Okay.
Let's see.
So it depends on which room you're in and who the speaker is, and
Yeah, because if you look here on the screen right now, this room will be set up in classroom style with tables, and that holds about 36 people. But then,
Yeah, it looks like, just to answer your question, looks like you've got different rooms right here, or different tables. So basically, the good thing is that this whole event is going to be recorded, and so and it'll be available to you for a small fee, at the event. It'll be discounted. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to be able to attend all of the events, but I want to take part and I want to listen to them. So I'm just going to buy the audio at the event on Sunday, and I'm going to bring my pen and pencil, and take as many notes as I can. But I just want to relax and take it in at this event. Are there any other questions? Let me look and see if we got any other questions. Hopefully, Christy, that answered your question. But I think the biggest thing is, don't try to, if you get the audio, you're going to be able to just relax Saturday and Sunday, because you can listen to it and take a pen and pad and, jot down. You're going to walk away. I think my goal on Saturday and Sunday is to walk away with 5 solid ideas on how I can improve my business. And that's really all I'm looking for, is 5 solid techniques, ideas, systems that can help my real estate investing business. And what I always say, we're not in the real estate business, we're in the real estate marketing business. If you're not marketing consistently, and then it's hard to do real estate transactions. Tim stepped out because he got a buy call. So anyway, hold on one second. Let me unlock this door so he can get back in.
okay, so I knew who that was. It was the person that called me on the buy call line, and he's actually on this call, and he was having audio issues and didn't understand how to type a question. So his question was, if you're talking with a seller, whether it's a cold call or they call you, and you tell them you're an investor and they don't want to deal with you, he was asking how do you get around that, and my answer is just simply you don't. Because at the end of the day, if they don't have an interest in working with an investor, then they probably don't have any motivation, and if they don't have any motivation, it's like we tell the students nonstop. If just the numbers may work, but without motivation, you have a very slim chance of them taking your offer. You have to have both a situation where the numbers work and there's motivation.
And what I call it, the M&Ms. Right? You got to have M&Ms.
Yeah.
M&Ms is motivation and the means.
Right.
The means to sell at a good price or at an attractive price. And I mean, there's tons of people that are motivated, but they don't have the means.
Right.
And there's a ton of people that aren't motivated, that have the means but aren't motivated. So you got to have both. That's really write down, all of you guys write M&Ms. They got to have both.
Yeah, and sometimes, depending on how serious their motivation is, their means may actually develop to where they may be interested in a sub-2, or that they may be ready to take that low offer. I have an appointment on Tuesday of next week with a guy that just got out of bankruptcy. His bankruptcy got dismissed, and now, the mortgage company has told him, look, you're on notice. We're posting you in February. And so he's like, look, I've tried to fight it. My bankruptcy got dismissed or discharged, and he's out of options, and he's ready to accept his fate, so to speak.
Right.
So now he has the motivation, and so I'm gonna go out there and see what I can't do about
make him an offer.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions?
Anybody else? Okay, if you're on this call, you have to come to the REI Expo. Come here, come sit in my class for an hour. Those of you that do sit in my class, or if you're a current student, I'm going to give you a free copy of my DVD, Baseball for Real Estate. It's just about how to structure your real estate investing business for success, and how to build a team, and a team that you don't have to pay. We're looking forward to seeing y'all all on Saturday and Sunday. We'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be busy, but I'll be there.
Yeah, you probably won't have time to sit down with everybody, right?
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just set the
yeah,
tone.
I won't be doing any sit-downs with anyone this weekend. I just won't be able to when you've got hundreds of people coming in that, and you're the center of all
You're the center
information.
Of yes.
So come on out. We've got a barbecue buffet lunch on Saturday, and a couple radio shows going on. I'm looking forward to it. I had a blast last year. It was kind of the unknown thing for me, but I had a blast at it last year, and I'm pretty pumped. We're giving away thousands of dollars worth of stuff in the opening ceremony at 8:30 Saturday morning, and then at 5 o'clock on Sunday for the people that actually hang in there with us. We're giving away, there's a sponsor giving away a TV. There's a sponsor giving away an iPad. We're giving away the laptops that we use. We just bought 6 new netbooks, and they're brand new. They got to our office today. We're going to be running the presentations off of them, and as soon as it's over, I will be giving them away, and so you're gonna, you got a chance to just walk away with a brand new laptop. And Lifestyles Unlimited, they're doing a radio show live from 4 to 5 on Saturday, and then live from, I want to say it's 12 to 1 on Sunday. It might be 1 to 2, but I'm going to stop by and do a segment, and it's 12 to 1 on Sunday, and George is going to stop by and do a segment. He's shaking his head.
Oh, yeah.
We're answering questions right now. So, it's just going to be a fun, educational, networking event. I absolutely promise you there is no selling from stage. If anyone does sell from stage, they will be asked to leave, and they will not be invited back. That's our promise, because nobody wants to pay $100 to sit in the pitch fest. Now, I'll tell you, most of these speakers, they do have a product or service that could help you if you want to go down the road, and they're going to tell you about it, but they're not going to do the run to the back of the room.
Credit card,
yeah. They're not going to walk up and down the aisle throwing CDs at you and run to the back of the room. That's just not what this event's about. And ask anyone that was there last year; they'll tell you. So, anybody else got any questions? Okay, well, I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
For the Real Estate Investor Expo and Flip That Contract. I'm Tim Harridge.
And I'm George Roddy.
And we'll
We'll
see
see
you
you Saturday.
Saturday. Bye-bye.